Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So you just published a book. It starts generating some sales and before you know it, it's really starting to take off. Now there are a few things more exciting than putting some time and effort into a book, publishing it, and then seeing it start to take off. It is a super exciting thing for any publisher to experience. But then you see it. There's a book and it looks exactly like yours. It's got the same cover, the same title, the same description, and they're charging $1 less than you are, or maybe it's $2. Now, this is an extremely frustrating experience for any self-publisher to face, especially if that book that's being ripped off is actually generating some serious sales. But fortunately, there is some recourse that you can take so that you can get this leech off of your back. Now, first of all, just let me say that it is never okay to copy someone else's design. Now, we all look around for inspiration, we look and see what other publishers are doing and wonder how we might be able to work in some specific look or feel into a book that we create. But at the end of the day, whatever the book is that you are borrowing from in terms of design elements, you should be able to hold that book up to your own and they should look like two completely unique designs. You should never be able to hold up those two books and have one of them mistaken for the other. So when you find some inspiration from a book, you can't just take that cover and then swap out one attribute such as the color, or maybe it looks the same but you've used a different font. They have to be well differentiated from one another so that they can be looked at as two completely unique designs, even though they might have a similar look and feel and might be targeted at a similar audience. They have to be unique designs. Now, if your book has been copied, there are some steps you can take, but you do have to make sure that it is a true copyright infringement. So basically, the person has to have ripped off your design in its entirety. The cover basically has to look exactly the same as yours. You can't write to Amazon and complain that someone has just borrowed heavily from your design. Amazon's not going to care about that. Basically has to be an exact copy of your book. The other thing Amazon isn't really going to care about is if they've used your exact book title or if they've used your exact description. Even if that description literally looks like it's been copied and pasted off of your product detail page. Now, while that's slimy and low down and rotten and just plain unfair, unfortunately, that's not something that Amazon's going to do anything about. Now, if you really do have a legit copyright infringement, someone really has ripped off your exact book cover, then there are two things you can do. So firstly, if you want to give that publisher who's ripped you off a chance to do the right thing, you can attempt to contact them first. So you can go to the book's author page if they've got one and look for any contact details. You can also look for contact details by going onto their product page, using that look inside feature, opening up their book and seeing if you can get an email address or something. Usually they'll have that on the first page or next to their copyright information or something like that. If you can find that information, you can go ahead, send them an email, let them know that they're violating your copyright. You can send a link to your book so they know which book that you are talking about. And you can let them know that they've got 24 hours to take down your book or you will be pursuing a formal complaint with Amazon. Now, this is always a good idea just to give that publisher the benefit of the doubt. Now, sometimes a publisher is outsourcing their designs. So what that means is they've hired an unethical designer, probably unbeknownst to them, and that designer has gone out and ripped off your book, probably a bunch of other ones too, and that publisher might not even know that they're violating your copyright. So if that's the case, it gives them the chance to make things right before bringing out the big guns, and it lets them know, hey, your designer is doing something unethical here, gives that publisher a chance to find a new designer and stop using that person. Now, normally if a person receives an email like this, they really don't want to put their account in jeopardy. So they're likely to comply. And normally they will just take that book down within the time frame you've given them. You might get an apology response back. That would be horrifying for anyone who's just hired that out to find out. So that just gives them a chance to make it right from their end. Now, if you can't find any contact details, or if you have and you've sent that person a message and gotten no response or even a flat out refusal to comply, then you're going to want to do things a little bit more formally and use the copyright infringement reporting procedure that I'm going to show you now. So let's flip the screen around and I will show you what that looks like. Okay, so once you've signed into your KDP account, you're just going to click up on the help button right here. Then you're going to scroll down to legal. You're going to go to program policies. Then you're going to go to copyright guidelines. From there, you're going to choose the store in which you want to report the copyright. So in this case, I'm going to choose Amazon.com, and then you'll be taken to this form. So obviously read all of this information here first, and then you're just going to fill out the information. So most likely you're going to be clicking the rights owner. If it's your intellectual property, something that you've designed, then you are the rights owner. So you'll be clicking this box right here. Most likely you're going to be leaving this box as is, which says that the primary complaint pertains to copyright concerns such as unauthorized use of copyrighted material such as text, photos, product designs, videos, music, software, etc. Or if you actually have a trademark on something and that's where the violation is occurring, then you can click trademark. Now for this next one, you can basically choose one out of the top two. Personally, I would choose the first option if it is almost an exact copy. Maybe they've chosen a different font and it looks very, very similar, almost exact. I believe I've, on the couple, 2 or 3 times that I've had to use this form, I've chosen this first option. If it looks like, they actually just maybe took a screenshot, like it is an exact copy, an exact pirated copy, then I would pick the second one. And from there, you will just fill out the rest of the form. So you can put your author name in this field. And what I have done when I've had to use this form, I just put a link to my book in this field right here. Most likely you're not going to have a copyright registration number. That's okay. So in this additional information box, you can just do a brief description of what this copyright infringement consists of. If it's a cover ripoff, you can just talk about that and just give as much information as you can here. And then down below, you're going to enter the ASIN or the ISBN 10 or product URL of the book that is violating your copyright. So moving on to your contact details, I've always checked no, I am not a seller on Amazon. I'm taking that to mean, do I have a seller account? Don't I have a KDP account? So I've always just clicked no for that one. Then you'll go ahead and fill out your name, your address, and your phone number, and your email address. Then they're going to ask you for secondary contact details, and those are the details that they're going to provide to the third-party sellers for any queries that they have regarding the notification that Amazon is going to send them. So you can either tick the box for using the contact details that you've already just provided, or you can use a different name and email address if you don't want that third-party seller that has received the notification to come back to your first email address. From there, you're just going to read the statements here, you're going to tick the box, and then you're going to hit submit, and that's it. I've had to use this form about 3 different times, and I've had really good results each time. Usually within about 24 hours, that book has been removed. You might get an email from the person that you've reported, and of course it's up to you how you'd like to respond to them if and when you get that email. So that's it. That's how you report a copyright infringement to Amazon. So there you have it. I hope you found that useful, and I also hope that you never actually have to use any of that information. Now, if you found that helpful, click the subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can get notified every time I release one of these videos, which is every single Monday. And if you haven't already downloaded my free guide, 3 Steps to Publishing Your First Low-Content Book in Less Than a Day, then do so by clicking on the link in the description below. You can also check out my blog, rachelharrisonsund.com, for more low-content publishing tips. And I will see you next time. Thank you.